Call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing for the invocation by Father Mark Habanero of Our Lady of Hope Church. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. O gracious and loving God, God whom we are privileged to call Father, we praise and bless your holy name. As we gather this evening, elected officials, concerned citizens, we beg your presence and your wisdom. As this council listens to the concerns of our community, may they never forget your call to charity, most especially to the poor, the widowed, the orphan, the young. Bless them with in a special way this evening as they service the community of Gloucester Township. And may we consider one another as neighbor and follow the commands of love our neighbor as we love ourselves. May your holy protection descend upon our public safety officials, our police, our firefighters, and EMTs. As they serve us in our crisis, gift them for their courage and sense of duty. Bless our mayor with courage and wisdom. And as we all work for the common good of society, may your love and peace permeate our neighborhoods. We ask our prayers and those that are silent in our hearts through your Son and the Spirit, one God forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, Father Mark. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council, established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated the time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We use an electronic amplifying recording device in order to obtain an audible and clear record. Request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly into the microphone. Recording device to be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office shall be the official record of Township Council meetings. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans? Here. Mr. Hutchison?
On vacation.
Mr. Garbowski? Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Gintek? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Bianchini?
Present.
Mayor Mayer?
Here.
Mr. Maffa?
Present.
Mr. Lechner?
Here.
Chief Earl?
Here.
Mr. Carlemere?
Here.
Mr. Cardis?
Here.
I now have presentations. Good evening.
On. Batteries. There's batteries in there.
Tonight we are going to honor some employees and volunteers of our recreation department. And with us is the co-supervisor, Diane Jones, who will assist us in this honor here. And Diane, you want to say a few words?
I just want to thank everyone for coming tonight, and really, the people who need to be awarded are here. Most of our staff and all of our volunteers make very little money and have really gone, or no money if you're a volunteer, and have given their entire summer to help the youth of Gloucester Township and the surrounding communities. My children personally attend the camps, and so did over 500 other children. We're able to run these camps at a low cost to everyone. And it's because of you guys that we're able to continue to do this. And I just want to thank you for going above and beyond what you're asked to do. It really makes a difference, not only for my own children, but for every child who attends our programs in the community. So thank you.
Thank you, Diane. I'm going to read the proclamation. Whereas select employees and volunteers of the Department of Recreation summer camp programs are hereby honored for exceptional leadership, teamwork, generosity, and for many other exemplary qualities that merit recognition from the community. And whereas the recognized employees and volunteers have worked diligently to help create a camp environment for children that is friendly, welcoming, and fun, yet is also structured and supportive space where children can grow and in which parents can trust. And whereas the acknowledged camp counselors give boundless energy and countless hours of their time to the children that they supervise, going above and beyond the call of duty through their consistent involvement in the lives of the children, establishing themselves as trustable and relatable role models to all camp members. And whereas the select group of counselors facilitate the smooth operation of all camp functions through their extraordinary aptitude for teamwork and cooperation, which provides them with social and interpersonal skills for their promising futures, which also setting an excellent example of group cohesion and accomplishment for the children of the camp to follow. And whereas the diverse and diligent workers within the Department of Recreation being recognized and will name and living. Now therefore I, David Mayer, and Council of the Township of Gloucester, do hereby recognize the staff and volunteers in the Department of Recreation for their outstanding accomplishments, extraordinary dedication to the camps and to the community. We will like to call each individual up and say just a short word of what their counselors, head counselors said about it. Andrew Elliott. Andrew is an exceptional counselor. He comes to camp every day with a smile and a positive attitude and is always prepared for our activities and ready for the kids. Whether it's a ball game, building blocks, or coloring pictures, Andrew is always interacting with the campers. Andrew is full of patience and compassion and knows how to encourage the children's curiosity and imagination. His kind words, sense of humor, and playful ways make him the most favorite counselor among the kids. Andrew treats all the children as if they were his own younger brother or sister. He's always willing to help out and also take initiative to do things on his own. His sensitivity towards the children, needs, and feelings help them to feel safe and secure when they are with us. He has a strong work ethic and is a good example for others. Thank you. Kamisha Speller. Kamisha will be a senior at Paul VI High School. She's involved in track and soccer. She is also a member of the Washington Township Explorer Program and a member of the Peer Leadership Program at Paul VI. She started volunteering in summer camp when she was in 6th grade. She was a volunteer for 3 years before becoming a CIT in 2009. Kamisha comes to camp every day with a pleasant and enthusiastic energy. She gets along well with the staff and children and is always eager to fulfill any task that is asked of her. Thank you. Eliana Julian? Elena? Elena is on her way to becoming a great teacher. She has been with our camp for several years and has shown true growth and development while working with us. Elena offers ideas and takes initiative with camp projects. She's eager to take on whatever responsibility is given to her. She works well with our campers and maintains her patience even in the most difficult situations. Elena uses her camp experience to learn as well as teach. She accepts constructive advice as well as working hard. Throughout the previous summers, I've watched her develop relationships with many of the campers and make them eager to see her again the following year. Elena is upbeat, friendly, and hard-working. It's a pleasure working with Elena. Danielle White. responsible go-to person to bounce around ideas. She's always willing to step up into the leadership role. She's very dependable and can lead a camp in anyone's absence. Danielle deserves to be recognized. Congratulations. Charles Hildes. Charles' work ethic has improved so much this year. He is thinking about projects and songs before, during, and after camp. Campers have come to respect him, and they look forward to seeing him each week. Congratulations, Charles. Deborah Salvatore. Jessica Clark. Connor Hackett. Connor is eager to interact with the campers and does so with a level of maturity beyond his years. He takes initiative during different activities and always jumps into an assignment head first. Connor has a bright future ahead of him and shows great leadership skills. Congratulations. Samantha Rayrig. Again, this year, Samantha has shown a great deal of leadership. For the first 3 to 4 weeks, she was the person in charge of the art room, developing, planning, and instructing the other staff and children on the crafts. You have a genuine concern for the children and always show excitement about your job. Thank you. Erica Irvin. Erica began working for the camp as a volunteer a few years ago and immediately took an active role in planning activities for the campers. She's a dependable, mature, responsible individual who continues to take on more responsibilities at camp. Erica continues to be an integral part of the camp staff. She takes the initiative to develop and carry out craft activities with the children. She interacts with the children in age-appropriate manners for them. Erica can be given any task and she will complete it without question or comment. She has a genuine concern for the children and her co-workers. Erica can be seen on a daily basis calming campers down from an injury, re-explaining directions to children who are having difficulty with the instruction, encouraging apprehensive children to get involved in the activities, and helping the children to socialize with other campers. Thank you. Matthew Steen. Samantha Trulian. Sammy is always willing to do any task she is asked without hesitation and a smile on her face. She loves to interact with the children. In addition, she always keeps her student parents up to date on daily progress. She's a natural teacher and a one-of-a-kind team player. Congratulations. Nicole Kelly. Nicole's a quiet leader. She's always in the right place, doing what is expected of her, and adding insight and having a positive attitude. She deserves to be recognized. Thank you. Brandon Ned. Brandon has been a member of the middle school camp family for several years. First as a camper, then a volunteer, and now as a counselor. It's been a pleasure to watch Brandon's development over the years. First as a teacher, now as his co-worker and friend. He has become a very valued member of the middle school camp staff. He's very diligent about his job, willing to do anything for the good of the camp. His interactions with the campers is outstanding. He always has a kind word and an infectious smile, and the campers enjoy being around him. He is an excellent role model for the campers to look up to. And the next Ellen Watford. Ellen is an outstanding volunteer. Not only does she volunteer her time to help with preschool camp, she offers her kindness as well. Ellen is a sweet girl. She tries to help all staff members and kids. Every day she offers to do something to prepare for the day, and she's always ready for our activities. Ellen deserves to be recognized. Thank you. Alexis Boschini. Lexi will be entering the 9th grade at Gloucester Catholic High School. While attending Mullen Middle School, she participated in soccer, student government, National Honor Society, and Renaissance Club. She has been a 2-year volunteer in the summer program. She attended the Gloucester Township preschool program. Lexi really enjoys interacting with the children and is always willing to do and assist whatever she is needed. Thank you. Rose D. Castanova. Susie Rose is in her 2nd year volunteering. She's a great worker. She has a pleasant attitude. She interacts well with the children, and she is very patient, kind, and caring. I really enjoy working with Susie Rose, and it's with a great honor that I recommend her for this recognition. Thank you. James Pildus. James has stepped up and taken the leadership role this year. When campers get dropped off, James is always engaging them with animals or a new game. James never needs to be told what to do. He sees campers that are drifting off, gets them back on track. Thank you, James. Madeline Hogan. Okay. Natalie Wharton. Although this young lady looks like she could be one of the campers, she definitely took the leadership role at camp this year. Helping mainly in our art room this summer, Natalie actively participated in each activity. She should be commended for planning, explaining, and carrying out her own art lesson with the children. This is not something a volunteer usually does. Natalie is a mature, responsible young lady who we are lucky to have as a staff member this year. Thank you, Natalie. Corey Schilling. Corey Schilling is another quiet leader. He makes an effort to come up with new gym activities and pays close attention to all the children. He offers to help in every area. Generally a well-rounded, good kid. Thank you, Corey. Danielle Amesbury. Danielle is a very hard worker who always lends a helping hand when needed. Each time the children go to a play area, you can always see Danielle interacting with the children. She also always sits on the carpet and makes sure the children are attentive during circle time. Danielle's a young woman with a very large caring heart that shows day to day. Thank you. Chase Hill. Chase is new to our camp this year. The act of volunteering itself is memorable, but to volunteer with Chase enthusiasm is simply amazing. Chase rides his bike to camp and always arrives on time. He accepts any task given to him, no matter how tedious, and completes it without complaint. He is eager to interact with the campers and does so with a level of maturity beyond his years. He takes initiative during different activities and always jumps into an assignment head first. Chase has a bright future ahead of him and shows great leadership skills. It was a pleasure working with Chase this summer. Thank you. Joey Mazzy. Joey's been a volunteer at our camp for 2 summers now, which is quite an admirable achievement. I would like to recognize him this year for the amazing amount of growth and maturity he has shown between this summer and last. Joey rides his bike to camp every day and he arrives on time. It is evident that he truly enjoys working with the campers. He is eager to participate in each activity we plan. He has learned how to have fun with the campers while presenting himself as a leader and a model to them. It was a pleasure to work with Joey again this summer. Thank you. Chris Regan. The head counselor has noticed that Chris actively participates in gym activities with the children and appropriately guides the children on a daily basis. You have demonstrated maturity and took responsibility and felt more at ease when dealing with the children than some of the overpaid staff. You deserve to be recognized. Thank you. Jerry Dewey? Mayor?
Well, let me first begin by saying a big thank you to all of you who have been recognized this evening. You heard Glenn read out some of the descriptions of what you have all accomplished this summer. And you heard words like dedication and being reliable and having the right focus to interact with the youth of our community. And I want to thank you for not only doing that, but for also being role models. I think that's so very, very important, especially in today's day, that you are not only being a role model to them now, but you are the future of Gloucester Township. And thanks for giving back to our community, staying in touch with our community, and providing really a great source of recreation and a great camp experience for the young people of Gloucester Township. Chase and Joey, thanks for riding your bike to work every day and being on time. That's a very good not only a great discipline, but it's very good for our environment. I think perhaps I should ride my bike to work every day. I've had too many picnics this summer, so it would help in that category. But that shows dedication. That shows dedication that you have, that all of you have. And again, on behalf of our town council and myself, thanks for making a difference. Thanks for being a role model. And thanks for giving back to the youth of Gloucester Township. So, thank you very much.
We're going to take a 5-minute recess. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Last year, you guys had your ghost days. So, as long as you can give me a phone call tomorrow, let me know if it's still going on. And I'll make sure I saved a couple things tomorrow. I mean, I know those ones that are there, and just if you have to call to get pictures and stuff.
But there's also, really put in more dating
Hi, David. How are you? Good. Hi, Steph. How are you? Yeah, how are you doing? Your mom here? Oh. How's your summer going, Steph? Good? David. No, not great, but whatever. You're going to be on CCD again? Good. See you there. How you doing? Yeah, David too. David too. Have a good summer, the rest of it, okay, Steph? I'll tell David you're asking, okay? No, how is it? Take care of it. Hey, Steph, I got a new card.
So, and I mean, I was and then I just went up to Mary Ann. She said, hey, we're just she said you were in her office that day.
You'd be surprised how some places we don't.
thing that you come out. So I heard the door open.
Yeah, I saw that. That was that's what I said. I know, hon.
Good. How are you?
Okay. I just saw the picture. They just sent that picture.
No, I don't have any. You know what? How much was it going? I'm gonna make you some real quick.
She was at the airport. I've seen you too.
Next, I'm making some tempers too. I actually scheduled the first Thursday of every month. Because I've now, but Thursdays are like days, aren't they for you? I mean, they are for Brian, so it works out for me. Well,
we're still 6 to 8. What time's the meeting start?
7:30.
Maybe I could.
Was it 7:30 or 7? This was 7:30. I'm new. And next time I'll call you how to dress again too, Roy. You're a big help.
This is
She was with the DARE program, and she just got she just got the Renaissance Award in Triton. Yeah, she'll be a junior Triton. We're really proud. And my mom says she's just taking it right after you. I don't think you did. She wanted to go. No, good to see you, Dave.
I'll talk to him again tomorrow. Right down about that tree too.
Oh, the tree. I'm like,
Last one to make sure
That's why it's so far in advance. Hi.
I heard
The backup stuff that I sent.
I'm going to call the meeting back to order, please.
Oh, okay. I was looking for.
Have a roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans? Mr. Schmidt? Yes. Mrs. Gentek? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Bianchini?
Present. Well, I'll have the first public portion. Anyone wishing to speak on agenda items only, please raise your hand and come to the microphone. Maureen?
Good evening, Maureen McLaughlin, 125 Empire. First question I have is on the consent agenda, number 233. It's regarding the energy savings plan. Is that solar panels? Or what exactly is energy?
Which one?
The 233, Tom.
President, it's actually a third-party verification for an audit that we're doing under the state statute that created this program. We've done our audit in conjunction with the Black Horse Pike Regional School Districts to look at, changing our lights, putting more energy-saving utilities in our buildings. And this is now just verifying the audit. It's something that's required under state law.
Correct.
Thank you. Regular agenda 242 talks about the Glen Oaks redevelopment area. What exactly is that?
That's the solar farms.
Oh, solar farms.
That's a private developer, Maureen.
Located on Lower Landing Road.
So it's just vacant property, or is it built vacant property?
They're going to be on the ground.
They have a plan coming before the planning board and a redevelopment agreement.
And then the interchange redevelopment area, 243. What is that?
Yeah, that's the new interchange of the Cooper properties. And that's the new interchange, that's naming the interchange 42.
Correct.
That's the developer.
And again, it requires a memorandum or a redevelopers agreement in order for them to be complete when they make their application to the planning board.
So what authorization does that give them as a redeveloper?
They are designated as the redeveloper. They have an agreement they've entered into with the redevelopment entity or council, and as to how they're going to develop this in phases and putting up their escrows and requirements and the things that the redevelopment entity was concerned about for the redevelopment zone. They need that agreement in place before they can go forward with their application before the planning board, just as the solar panel. They are the owners of the ground, and they're going for their improvement.
Okay, are there public meetings for this?
Well, the planning board is public.
So it goes in front of the planning board?
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay. Last one I have is number 244, the emergency notes for the evaluation.
As you may be aware, when a revaluation is conducted, the method of financing it is through an emergency appropriation, and that's mandated by the state. You're allowed to, permitted to finance over a 5-year period because the cost of the reval, Gloucester Township, I think, was in the vicinity of $1.8 or $1.9 million. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to raise that in 1 year. So this represents the rollover of year 4 and 5.
So 1 through 3 have already been
One
financed
fifth
through.
of the bond of the note would have been approximately $300,000.
Yeah, so 1, 2, and 3 have been already financed.
Financed, okay. That's what I was curious because that happened a while ago, so. Okay, thank you.
Right. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we'll close the first public portion. Bids?
2011 Gloucester Township Roadway Improvement Program.
Motion to accept the bids.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans? Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. We have ordinances of second reading, and with this ordinance, there will be a public hearing. Ordinance of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, amending Ordinance O-06-23 and adopting the interchange redevelopment plan in accordance with NJSA 48:12A-1 of the local redevelopment and housing law. This is Ordinance O-11-17. This ordinance allows the township to enter into adopt the interchange redevelopment plan. This plan was approved by the planning board at their last meeting 9-0. We now have a public hearing on this ordinance. Maureen?
Now I'm confused because I just asked you about 243.
This is the redevelopment plan.
Okay, so it's already been in front of the planning board and it's already been approved.
The redevelopment plan. Now we name the redeveloper, which is what we're doing in the resolution, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, and then from that point on, they will go in front of the planning board for anything that they build and to keep them in the confines of the redevelopment plan.
Okay, so it's already been decided what's going there.
Correct. What is allowed to go there.
Zoning, correct, zoning issues and permitted uses.
Okay, but the actual developing of that land.
As it began, because now we're going to name the redeveloper.
Okay.
And then go into an agreement with them, and then they go in front of the planning.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Council President.
Yes.
Thank you. Ken Lechner, Director of Community Development and Planning. Council President, I just wanted to put on the record, since the planning board, we've been still going through the plan, we found some minor typographical errors. I just wanted to put on the record so you could clean them out.
Okay.
Namely, their planning board.
Speak into that, Ken, so everybody here.
Planning board membership. As you know, we had a couple members reappointed to the board, so that had to be cleared. There was some typographical errors regarding just grammatical errors, brackets and things of that nature. There was an amendment regarding the sign height that was omitted. Really, those regulations are governed by the New Jersey Administrative Code regarding sign heights. And we did add, which is also a reference to the New Jersey Administrative Code regarding the sign area, the advertising display area to the signs. And the last item amended was the map, the actual redevelopment area. The first exhibit did not include the rights of way of the new streets, but considering they were originally within the redevelopment area, we covered in all the new streets as well as the lots.
So, Dave, it sounds like nothing, the major items haven't been changed. So are we okay to go forward and approving this?
That's correct. I received a copy draft of the 6 items that reflected some typographical changes and a revised list of the current planning board members and the makeup of that board. None of the changes that are listed that the director just referenced are any substantive changes. They're more typographical type. Instead of a letter I, should have been a letter H and those kind of things. So nothing changes the substance of the plan. They were just corrections of typographical errors. And you can go forward without any additional advertising.
And you were correct, the planning board council has to refer the redevelopment plan by ordinance to the planning board because it's a land use type ordinance. The planning board recommended approval of the redevelopment plan at their last meeting. Upon adoption of the ordinance, the redevelopment plan, then council would be in a position to adopt the resolution naming the redeveloper.
Thank you, Terry. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we close the public hearing. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans? Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Skentek? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. We have ordinances of first reading. Ordinance 0-11-19. An ordinance to amend Section 7 of the bond ordinance 03-36 for the Township of Gloucester, which authorizes various general improvements set forth in the 2011 capital budget. This ordinance allows the Township to fund additional drainage improvements at Grant Avenue and Little Mill Road. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans? Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Skentek? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. We now have the resolution of consent agenda. If any council person wishes to remove any of these, please let me know now.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I second that.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans? Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Skentek? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Regular agenda?
Resolution 11:08-242, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Gloucester, Camden County, New Jersey, naming redeveloper for the Glen Oaks redevelopment area and authorizing the signing of a redevelopment memorandum of agreement.
As the title states, this resolution names a redeveloper for the Glen Oaks redevelopment area. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans? Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Skentek? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
Resolution 11:08-243, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Gloucester, Camden County, New Jersey, naming a redeveloper for the interchange redevelopment area and authorizing the signing of a redevelopment agreement.
This resolution names a redeveloper for the redevelopment area, the interchange redevelopment area. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans? Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Skentek? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
Resolution 11:08-244, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Gloucester, County, Camden, New Jersey, authorizing the issuance and sale of up to $676,000 of special emergency notes of the Township of Gloucester, making certain covenants to maintain the exemption of the interest on said notes from federal income taxation and authorizing such further actions and making such determinations as may be necessary or appropriate to effectuate the issuance and sale of the notes.
As discussed earlier, this resolution allows the township to approve the final 2 payments, if you will, for the revaluation project that has been financed. Tom, anything to add? Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, Roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt? Mrs. Gentek?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
Resolution 11:8-245, resolution authorizing renewal of retail consumption liquor licenses in the Township of Gloucester.
This resolution authorizes the renewal of retail consumption liquor license in the township. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
Resolution 11:8-246, resolution considering application of Timber Creek Spirits Incorporated for a person-to-person transfer of plenary retail distribution license held by KK Liquors, LLC.
This resolution allows the person-to-person transfer of the plenary retail distribution license held by KK Liquors to Timber Creek Spirits Incorporated. David, anything?
From just my brief conversations with the clerk, everything is in order. Advertisements are appropriate, and no objections have been filed with the police department that have been brought to my attention. So it's appropriate per statute to proceed with the approval for the transfer.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt? Mrs. Gentek?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Motions?
Raffle application 1291 of Highland Youth Soccer Club Incorporated. Raffle application 1292, Holy Child St. Teresa Home and School. And raffle application 1293, Holy Child St. Teresa Home and School.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Mayor's report, Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. Good evening. Let me begin by thanking everyone who participated in last week's National Night Out festivities. Over 25 groups gathered in their neighborhoods to take a stand against crime, and I think the participation from the public was very well received, and I want to thank Sergeant Barton and Corporal Grannon and the Gloucester Township Police Department for their efforts in organizing that. Last year we did win first in the state, and I expect that we'll be well placed this year as well. So I thank everyone for their participation, and all of those who take time and volunteer as neighborhood watch captains for their efforts in combating crime. I also want to again inform you of our transition from our regular recycling program to a single stream recycling program. That initiative, it looks like, will be kicked off in mid-November, mid to late November, as all of our residents will be receiving new canisters so that they would be able to put all of their recyclable material into one canister, thus increasing our recyclable material and decreasing the amount of trash that we generate. So it's going to save money and actually make money, make revenue from the recyclable end. We'll have some notices going out and certainly communicating with our residents as we get closer to November on that. And then lastly, I want to thank council for last year you donated, you gave up in essence your space upstairs that you used to have as an office. And I'm happy to announce that that office is now turned into a domestic violence room that is used for victims of domestic violence and their families if they are here in the municipal hall or at the police station. It is a room that now provides comfort in times of great distress. And thank Public Works for their efforts in constructing that room. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We do not have any questions from the GTE Gov access. We'll have the second public portion. Anyone wishing to speak on any item, please raise your hand and come to the microphone. Yes, sir. You go ahead. Right on. Yeah.
Council, Bob Shefflin, 1135 Jarvis Road, Ariel. Friday, for the fourth time, the police grabbed my parents' property. Some kids vandalized it between the hours of 10:30 and 2:30 in the afternoon. I approached council about all this, and I said the natural barrier was taken away during the construction of the bike path. The rocks that were used to go through the windows came from the bike path. I asked you guys if you could do something about this. Police have gone above and beyond to watch the place, and it's out of 35 windows, 14 of them are broken. What can we do?
Deputy Chief, I'm not sure if you can give some recommendations, or if you can review it and give us recommendations.
We'll review it. I'll review it with Bonnie. We tried the graffiti cameras that were out there in just a time period. We didn't have any results, and I don't believe there was any mischief during that time.
True.
We're certainly looking to redeploy it to that location, and we'll have Corporal Brannon go out there and just sweep and see if we can do anything. And
Right. They asked for extra patrol, and I checked today. It is on the computers. They're doing that. And I suggest even right behind the property to that kind of stuff. But I think because of the natural barrier taken away. As a matter of fact, when I called the police Friday afternoon, I watched a quad go up and down the bike path 6 times as I'm talking to the police. There's an area of probably 75 to 80 feet that are wide open for vehicles to go on and off the bike path. And I believe one of the officers told me earlier, they said they've had problems with this ever since it got put in. So, suggestion, it's up to you guys.
Well, Mayor, maybe with the police as well as with Public Works, we can take a look and make suggestions. If there's natural barriers we can replant, I'm assuming it's like trees or plants like that.
Something along that line.
I'm sure maybe we can come up with something.
Mr. President, why don't we'll get together with Glenn, and we'll both go out there and see what we put our heads together and see what the best thing we can do for our quality of life. We'll get some ideas and see if we can come up with something different.
Yeah, my cell phone's around me.
Yeah, we got it.
We get together.
Okay. Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Chief. Anyone else? Ray?
Good evening, Council. Ray Polder, Ariel. I just have a question regarding the revenue for recyclables. Basically, when things are recycled, Township goes back through the MUA. Is that correct?
The money, Tom, goes to us.
Well, there are 2 areas of revenue from recycling. There's the recycling monies that are made through the efforts of the MUA and the recycling compost site itself. That agreement, that interlocal agreement, which we call global agreement, takes account of the cost for picking up all the recycling material, picking up the grass, putting it at the compost facility, anything to do with the leaves. And what happens is, as they generate the end product and those revenues made, those revenues go back into the program, the interlocal agreement that we have with the MUA. So any revenue that's made, the way the agreement states, is returned to the fund, to that separate fund. And in fact, the MUA has a separate audit for the grass recycling and the compost facility. Now that's one type of revenue. Another revenue is a tonnage grant that the municipality gets from the state of New Jersey, and that's based on collection of all the recycling efforts, whether it's the schools, whether it's the township itself, the homes, whether it's businesses. All that is combined into one report, and based on that report, we're issued a disbursement in the form of a tonnage grant. So those would be the 2 sources of revenue. The tonnage grant has nothing to do with the GTMUA, other than the fact that their efforts by collecting the recyclables goes towards the tonnage amounts.
Now that includes both compost, aluminum, newspaper, all the same. When we increase our revenue by recycling, besides the MUA and what you stated, how does the township itself and the general fund, how does the increase help us as a town in offsetting our taxes as opposed to MUA.
Well, twofold. Let's separate the MUA from it. The tonnage grant, in my assessment, will go up because as we collect more recyclables, we will show more tonnage, and your amount of money is based on the amount of tons that you get.
And that's actual weight out.
That's all actual weight out. Also, there's a separate element to it that's not part of the tonnage grant, and that's the monies that we get paid for the recycling materials. That's typically paper products, and FCR disperses checks to the municipality directly for that. So that's not combined with any MUA funds. So there you have revenue increasing in the tonnage grant, and in that amount we receive from FCR for the paper products. On the other side of it, where we're paying right now I think it's $64 a ton, including the 3% recycling surcharge, which is state mandated had to be added to the tipping fees. The prediction is that the tonnage will go down, therefore we'll save money on that expense. So there you have revenue going up and expenses going down.
That works. Now, besides Gloucester Township with compost and various other items, what other towns are we accepting recyclables from and compost from?
I don't know the complete list, Ray, but there's numerous municipalities that go to our site because our site is one of the only sites that's DEP approved.
Now, when we accept those, my question is, when we accept from those other towns, are they being reimbursed with their tonnage,
Yeah.
we're making a portion of what they would be receiving? Is that
When I
correct?
talk about other municipalities coming to us, they're coming to us with grass and leaves only. We don't get involved with the bottles and the cans and the paper products. That they do on their own, whether they do it privately or whether they do it themselves.
Okay, and we receive by tonnage, and also we benefit from turning over the compost and
Yes,
resale
our
the compost.
tonnage grant is not affected by any other
But we
municipality.
charge them tipping fees, Ray, for them to drop off their garden waste and things like that. So that pays for us. They get charged for that, and then we obviously take that, turn it into mulch, and we do sell that.
When you say we, referring to the MUA or Township?
I want to clarify
I'm
that.
referring to the MUA, right?
It's part of the global agreement. That's the other element of revenue in the global agreement is the generation of any fees for enabling other towns to take their leaves to the compost facility. So you have revenues generated from that go into the global agreement. In other words, they go back to whatever the cost to run all the recycling program with the GTMUA. And then the end product, whatever we make selling the end product.
Okay. My second question basically is looking for the opinion or thoughts of council. Wasn't that long ago that council and administration had come into an agreement with the police department and re-up them for the next few years, and from what it looked like between the police department and the administration was very successful. That being the case, I'm curious as to, with the conversation going on within our county, or countywide police, where does our council sit? What is your position, if need be, individually or as a whole, on what the county would like to do with our police department and our police officers?
Well, I think at this point, Ray, we're at a sit and see approach to see what the county's doing. I think our police department, their success and what they do speaks for itself. But as the mayor has stated many times, and we will look at everything and anything. So I think at this point, we're waiting to see what the county comes up with, how it affects us, and if it affects us, and if it's the way to go. But I think how we feel about our police department.
What recourse do we have if the freeholders in county push this? What recourse does Gloucester Township have to keep our police officers?
I think that's premature because they haven't pushed it at this point that I'm aware of. No one's ever come to this council to tell us, this is what's going on. I think, again, until we see something solid coming out of the county, there's really not much we can comment on at this time.
Okay. Be interested in your comment as it gets a little closer, because it looks like they're moving this along pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Joanne?
I got my tax bill, and I have a question. Since we went to the calendar year from the fiscal year, why will our tax bill not be a calendar tax bill? Why is it still going to go from July to July?
Because that's how it's promulgated by the state of New Jersey. It's state law. They're all towns build the same way. And it's because on a calendar year budget, you're not going to have a rate in place when that budget year starts. So you start out with a temporary budget. We may go through the actions of getting state approval, of reviewing the budget, of amending the budget, and then we strike the rate. Now, because we all want to build at the same time, the schools are also going before the voters in April for an election. So while the municipality may have struck a rate prior to the school striking their rate, it could be vice versa, and the rate could be struck from the schools and not struck by the municipality. In today's environment, I would say the municipal rate is going to be struck first and then the schools. So once all those are together, and by state law they're supposed to all be together by June or July so that they can strike a rate. In this particular instance, there was an extension given on the bills, and the reason being was that the state of New Jersey was not releasing state aid numbers to any of the municipalities. So while all the rates were struck, we sat back and waited for the state to finally say, okay, here's the state aid numbers. At that point, we could go ahead and print tax bills. But that's why it's on that
But we
site.
still got it in time for the 1st.
And the good thing is that there was an extension to the 23rd, but the good thing is we sent one tax
One bill. Thank you. I do have one other question. I know the state was able to give monies to school districts, and it was up to them to decide whether they wanted to put it against property taxes or whatever. I realize our school board did not, and it's up to each of the residents to go fight for that there. But can the council mention to them, hey, can you cut us a break and take it from property taxes?
Well, I'd love to, but, that's their jurisdiction, and they don't have to listen to us, as you know. So they have their own meetings, Joanne, and I think the question for that is best to be handled by them.
I am aware of that, but I think I would appreciate if council would just make it known to them, just with the note to say, it would be nice if you'd help the residents out to help lower property taxes with some of that extra money. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Anyone else? Mr. Barry.
Good evening, sirs. Joshua Berry in the Greenbrier section. Before my timer begins, Mr. President, can I address one of your members?
Well, your time will begin.
Okay. Mrs. Gentek, I just want to thank you personally. 2 weeks ago, when we were at the farmers market, 3 members of South Jersey Citizens were there collecting signatures, and you, with your group of teenagers, had offered to watch the daughters of one of our members so she could go out and collect. Given some of the tenor of the discussions regarding pay-to-play in this petition drive, I was, as a person, deeply touched by that gesture and the fact that you showed a lot of grace in doing that. So just personally, thank you. Unfortunately, I'm not here to compliment you all tonight. Sorry, I know it's a big shock, right? Last week when I came to the workshop session, I had asked you for the report on pay-to-play because you had made the statement that you were waiting for information. The reply I got back from the council member that you had put on that committee was, I will report when I'm ready to report. That's unacceptable. That is clearly not a way to show respect to myself as a taxpayer and the rest of you as fellow councilmen. Since he's not going to report on this committee, I will. I'll be blunt here. This committee has been a complete waste of my time and the time of the taxpayers. This committee has not done anything. We have not had any formal meetings. There have been no artifacts produced from this committee. The only conversations that I have had have been with Councilman Hutchinson in the parking lot after meetings when he had asked that these be, quote, off the record, only to find the paid political operatives posting the same information online 2 days later. This is unacceptable. I'm sorry to be the one to have to say this, but this committee just does not exist. You have not been working with me, and you cannot continue to tell the people that this committee has been acting. After every meeting, I have gone back to you, I have done my research, I have answered your questions, and I have copied all of you so you all had the information. I have not gotten a single phone call, a single email, any kind of communication back from anyone on this issue, including Councilman Hutchinson. This has just got to stop. We need to move this forward, or just you need to come out and say you're not going to do it. It has been a month since Councilman Hutchinson and I have talked about this at all. Again, nothing has happened. At last we left off over a month ago, there were on the order of 15 or more points that we had gone over, some of which in public, some of which in private. There are 2 outstanding that I want to make sure that the people know about, and the, 5 of you who are here know about. The first is that he believed that our municipal employees and police were going to form their own PAC to dominate elections in the absence of vendor money so they can get a better contract. I completely disagree with this because 1, it has never happened in the state as a result of pay to play, and 2, I don't think the character of our police officers are such that they would do this. The second point is on the issue of transparency. The belief that with pay to play in place, all of the money is going to be funneled through the 501c4s, which currently do not have to disclose their donor list. For this to happen, according to the ordinance when passed, would be illegal. I'll say it again. It would be illegal for any campaign money to flow from a 501c4 according to this ordinance. The second point about that is, thanks to the folks at One Jersey, the legislation to open up the 501c4 rolls is now progressing through Trenton. They were embarrassed by their own party members who had put this PAC up and are refusing to give their donor list. So, assuming that passes, if any secret money does come in, we'll know about it, and the appropriate people from the vendor to the people who formed the PACs and accepted it will be prosecuted. So at this point, Mr. Council President, there are no logical arguments left against the pay-to-play ban. And if there are, no one is communicating them to me. And if I'm supposed to be on this committee, my expectation is somebody would be talking to me, but nobody is. So I'm going to ask you again, would you please put this on the agenda? What other information do you need from me? Mr. Council President, is there anything that I have that I need to give you? Is there any piece of this that you do not understand?
If I need information, Josh, from you, I will ask you for it.
Okay, so then, since you haven't asked me, I'm assuming you have all the information you need. So then, will you please put this on the agenda?
As I stated before, we are still looking at it.
What are you looking at?
Josh, let me finish. I've asked the solicitor to take all the pay-to-plays. There's one that came down from the state as part of the program. I don't remember what the name of that program is, but and he is in the process of looking at them, comparing them, and giving us that information. And as I stated before, Mr. Hutchinson, who I asked to work with you, is still, obviously he's out of town, but he is still working on his opinion on it, and he will bring that to council when he's finished.
Well, I'm telling you, he's not working with me.
Okay.
I have no idea what he tells you behind closed doors or in private, but as the man on the other side of the conversation, it's not happening. As far as the ordinance that came down from the state to the DCA, that's what I'm proposing. As I have said multiple times, this is the one from the DCA that Jersey City had passed with 2 exceptions, and that's it. or with two changes. Number one, inserting Gloucester Township and Camden County in the template, and number two, adding the language for shared services to hold us harmless. This is what comes from the state, except for those two changes, word for word. So I don't know how much more time do you need on this. There are ordinances that if you wanted to pass, you would have. You quickly breezed through an ordinance that would allow either current or future purchasing agent, no offense intended, to embezzle funds from us without much oversight. That one was brought in.
That's not true. That's not true, Josh. And for you to make that statement is irresponsible.
Mr. Bianchini,
You're saying that our business administrator can embezzle funds? That is so untrue. We spoke about it. Let me finish. We spoke about what his role would be, how it's auditable, how it's going to be function. For you to make that statement is downright wrong.
let me ask you a question.
And I take offense.
Okay, and this is not meant to you, a future person. Given the scrutiny that pay-to-play has received, every argument that Mr. Hutchinson or other members of council could think of was brought before me, some of which were downright just completely specious. Let's just say a vendor comes to you with a piece of equipment for sale for 10 grand. And then, again, not Mr. Ucard, I think you're a stand-up gentleman, but someone who comes in after you says, okay, charge us 11 or 10.5 and give me back half. Again, some of these are, do I think it's going to happen? I don't think Mr. Cardis would. But again, some of the arguments that you have brought to me against pay-to-play are of this order of silliness. The argument of a private company is going to force their employees to purchase tickets for a fundraiser. Come on, seriously? I'm not going to go through all of the dozen to 15 arguments that you have made, but they're on that order of silliness. My point is that if you wanted this passed, you would have done it back in May when I first brought this to you. The point is that you just don't want to do it. Period. I don't know how many hours have you spent analyzing this compared to any other ordinance. I've been to the last couple of workshops. I've seen how quickly many of these breeze through. Someone comes in, makes a couple of statements. Do you like it? Sure. Okay, it's on. I come up, and now we're arguing for over an hour. Every specious argument that's out there was brought up. Mr. Hutchinson was actually researching for any other argument he could use against it. He's shown me the research on it. My whole point is, there is no logical reason that this is not moving forward. I have not heard anyone come back to me and brought up a point why this can't move. The one valid issue that you raised about shared services with a smaller town that doesn't have a pay-to-play ordinance, I went back to the Citizens Campaign, and the folks who originally wrote this worked with their attorneys to get verbiage into this. Okay, I have been working with you. I have made statements on every email every week. Call me. If any of you individually have questions, I will gladly meet you for coffee and talk about it. If any of you have got any concerns you want to talk to me about, I will gladly work with you. If there's a change that needs to be made, we'll change it. If it's a matter of explaining it to you, I'll explain it to you. But I won't sit back and have you tell the press and the public that one of your councilmen that you appointed is working with me on this issue. I was the most surprised person in that room 1 month ago when you said that. I cannot have that happen. And Mr. Bianchini, I'm sorry if you felt offended by the suggestion of what could happen with that ordinance, but that's exactly how I felt every time I heard every specious argument about what might happen that has not happened in any of the 100 or so towns that have passed this.
Mr. Barry, I have a question. What were the two, you mentioned something about the DCA. What were the two again? I wanted to write those down. Sorry. You mentioned something about the DCA. Yeah, there was two, something about Camden County. What was it again? I'm sorry.
I don't understand the question.
You had asked, you mentioned something about DCA inserting something with Camden County. There was this, I guess there was 2 bullets or 2 points about that.
The pay-to-play ordinance that we had presented after we had modified it was the exact same pay-to-play ordinance that the DCA is pushing. And Mr. Solicitor, I sent you a link as well as the information on that, on exactly where I got it. The only two changes from that, word for word, including every typo that's in the original, was inserting the phrase Gloucester Township and Camden County in the template, and then adding language in there to include our hold harmless clause for a shared service if we got into one with a Runnymede that might not have that. So, Mr. Bianchini, right now we don't have any estimated dates. There's no deadlines. It's just we'll get to this when we get to this. Well, you want to know what the families out there that we're talking to every week, how they interpreted that? They laugh and go, right, they're stalling, they don't want it. Everyone sees it. We have literally, I mean, I can't tell you how many homes. It is overwhelmingly support for this. Once we get to a person, because in the summertime a lot of people are on vacation, I would say somewhere between 8 to 9 people out of 10 sign this. Overwhelming support for this. The people, sir, know what you are doing. And I'm sorry to have to be confrontational. This is not who I am. I don't like doing it. As I said earlier, Mrs. Gentek, I was sincerely touched by your gesture. That's the person that I am. But I cannot take this any longer. If you don't want to do it, then tell me. That's fine. I'll stop coming up every week. But when you tell me that there's a committee that is working on this, when nothing has happened, I can't let that go. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we close the second public portion. Polling the directors and council, please.
Mr. Maffa?
Nothing to report at this time.
Mr. Lechner?
Nothing to report.
Chief Earl?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes, I'd like to thank the residents for coming out. Josh, thank you very much. I actually do support pay to play, and I did sign off on that, and encourage residents to also join on with that. It's something we do need to do. I'd also like to thank the young people that were out here tonight, and also hope that we can move forward with the application in which we're working with Mrs. Brown on for the PAL program and for a recreation center that we were hoping that we can bring forth here in Gloucester Township. Many of our kids that are on perhaps the southern end of town or other parts of the town do need to have more recreation, more outlets, not just, I'm a fan of baseball and basketball, that's fine, but we need other outlets as well. Can't play basketball outside in the rain and baseball in the rain and in the snow. We need some indoor recreation. And we're hoping that, and I'm hoping that the council will work with me and trying to get some type of movie theaters and things here for our young people so that they will have other things to do, especially around this time of the year when we're in the summertime and these kids, they just need something more to do than just walk around the street. I'd like to also thank Mr. and Mrs. Holmes, because I know you guys, I see you're out there, and I know you work very hard in the neighborhood to try to work with many of the young people and provide opportunities for a lot of these young people. And I want to thank you both for what you do, and tell you to keep up the good work. And with that said, I say goodnight.
Mr. Schmidt?
I would like to thank everyone for coming out this evening and staying. And special thanks and kudos to our police department for the spectacular National Night Out.
Mrs. Gentek?
I would also like to thank everyone for coming out. Congratulations to the Recreation Department. We do have a wonderful Recreation Department that pretty much is set in the middle of the township, and it offers so much for our kids. My kids have gone through it, and like Diane had said, the hundreds of other kids, it offers opportunities for things for them to do. Also, I'd like to congratulate Main Stage Center for the Arts. That's also in our town, pretty much based right in the middle, and that's a wonderful program for kids to come and join. One of my sons did go through the program, and it is truly, the arts are wonderful for kids to get involved in. I'd like to So the farmers market has been doing wonderful. It's on Saturdays. We are having our Teen Greens, which is makes up our high school, Highland High School green team. They go and they read to the children, so while you're shopping, you can drop your kids off. We just ask to make sure you pick them up after. And let's see, National Night Out was wonderful. So Chief, you did a great job. Sean and Brendan, great job, as always. So I'd like to thank everyone again for coming out and have a good week.
Mr. Mercado?
I want to thank the residents for coming out this evening, congratulate our honorees today, those who work and volunteer at the rec department, and also extend my gratitude to the police department for the National Night activities. I believe there's about 24 parties that went on that took place that day. And I also want to address Mr. Potter's question regarding the county police force. We have an outstanding police force here, and I think it's a reflection of the leadership that we have here in Gloucester Township with Chief Earl and Deputy Chief Harkin. It trickles down to our incoming patrol people. The mayor and the chief have a seat at the table when these discussions are taking place, and I believe that they have our best interest, the township's best interest, when it comes to this discussion about a county regional police force. But I just, we know what we have here in Gloucester Township, our quality of life, our K-9 units, our anti-graffiti, our quality of life meetings that take place. And I believe that council enables our police force to have the latest and greatest when it comes to technology in crime prevention and crime solving. So I'm confident that the chief and the mayor have our best interest. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank all the residents for attending tonight's meeting. I too want to congratulate the honorees. The impressiveness of those young people who volunteer, and most of them volunteer 2 to 3 years, and eventually go on to work the program, is very admirable, and it's a real nice thing to see of the young folks in our township. I too want to congratulate the police department on the National Night Out. It was a tremendous program, as it is each and every year. And again, there's people on the other side of that volunteer their time to make their communities, to assist the police in making their communities safer. And I want to thank all those individuals for all what they do in their community to make this one of the best in the state. And so thank you, Chief, and thank your staff for it.